a document for the further references if we are not around. So the Coolify is nothing but it's a platform as a service. It's a PaaS-based open source deployment tool or like infrastructure management on Linux servers. Okay, this I created this document like for what we can use the Coolify for. Like we can use the Coolify for to deploy the web apps, run Docker containers, host static websites, manage databases, and like we can use it as a platform as service. When I say it is as platform as service, like it's a cloud computing model. Like for example, when I create a Linux server, basically if we are not using any PaaS or like platform as a service, if we are using as an infrastructure as a service, there is another thing called as IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. So, for example, when we do let me explain. So, when we create a server manually, we have to go install everything. Like, for example, if we require a Docker, if we require a Java application, Java software to support it, if we require a Docker engine to support those things, we have to update or we have to install everything manually. So it is very time consuming and we'll not be able to figure out what things has been installed or what is supporting softwares has been installed on the server and those supporting things. Hello, anyone saying anything?
No,
No.
Gopi, go ahead.
Yeah. So these things will take a lot of time and it will consume our times and we'll not able to find out what things have run through manually when we do manual installations and we lose track of those things. To avoid this, they introduce a platform as service in the cloud-based computing model. And I have explained these things here also. My document will let you know what is PaaS also, and it is a like as I've given here, it's a cloud computing model that provides developers with a complete platform to build, deploy, and manage applications without having to manage the underlying infrastructure. That is, whenever you create a server, you have to just integrate it to the Coolify. So basically, we integrate using authentication, different authentication ways. The easiest way is by using the SSH keys. We authenticate the servers between server and the Coolify app actually. So that's how we integrate those things on the server based and on the Coolify platform based things. Right now on Lirisoft, we are running our Coolify server web server on coolify.lirisoft.net. So if you all are seeing this window, this is the Coolify which we are running for our current organization, that is Lirisoft. And here, let me go one by one to explain those things. So basically, for on the developer's perspective, so when you guys log into coolify.resoft.net, so I have given the yeah, sorry, before that, in simple terms, I have explained regarding the PaaS. Like as I told you, like without PaaS, if you do a rent blank server or any servers if we create, we have to install everything manually, like OS, Docker, Node.js, database, etc. But with platform associated servers, like you just push your code and the platform takes care of everything, like building, running, scaling, and updating your app. Everything is maintained by the Coolify itself.
Gopinath, can you show us an example, like a simple Java applet or
Yeah,
sublet?
sure. I can if you're seeing the screens, we have created multiple servers here. Okay, and Ishak, it will take longer time to explain those things on explanations. I'll just show
Okay,
them.
we can do a different session.
Yeah. So I just show on the base. So we create this server. Like for example, I create a server called. I have created a server. Right now, I'm explaining on Dev 100 days as my example. So I created this virtual machine with a Linux server, and I just came here and I created a server called 100days.lisoft.net. Okay, you can see here on the Coolify.lisoft.net. and I integrated that IP and validated that server. Only this much I did. That's it. So it got integrated. Right now, our 100 days, like layers of .NET, like our 100 days app, whatever we had created the server, this is the server IP. So I'm integrating that server to the Coolify through SSH. So there will be keys and tokens which we use for projects here. So when we do a explanation basis, or like when we have an elaboration on Coolify how to do it, we would like to explain those things on that during that time. As time doesn't permit, I'm just showing you guys. That's it. So on the servers, we just integrate, and once the server is integrated, you can see the integration status will be shown here with a blank one. And if your server is not integrated, it will always say not reachable. So for example, if I go and turn off the VM here, if I go and turn off any of the 100 days VM, the server will go down and say it is not it is not reachable. So that's how it is getting integrated between through SSH keys, whether server is reachable or not reachable through SSH public key and private key. Any questions on this? Can I go ahead?
So you said we just have to link the IP address. So where
Yes.
is that SSH key coming into picture?
So for example,
Just do a add and show us, no? Do
yeah.
a add.
So let me create a server for you guys quickly. So this is a Ubuntu 22 Linux server I'm creating currently on the VM. In the meantime, I create a server here also. So here you can see, like I'm naming my server as ck.lilsoft.net on the Coolify. And in this slot, right, IP address. So here, so basically I put this server IP over here. For example, my server IP would be 172.15.2.15. And here you can see, or everyone, I was talking about the keys which we have already kept it ready. So we are using localhost key. This is our, use this key, we add this private key to our server to integrate with it.
Okay.
So this is my server currently, which is running on Ubuntu 22 Linux version VM. This is a Linux VM server which I have created, and there are no supporting softwares or no nothing has been installed on this. Just a plain VM with running with Ubuntu 22 version. So I do a So here, basically the IP would be getting assigned here, and we take this IP and we just add it over here, and we integrate it. And when we do a,
Where is the IP? I didn't see the IP.
yeah, it is not getting generated actually. We need to look into it actually. The IP would have been generated. It is not at assigned actually. So here on this server, you can see this is the IP 172.16.2.145. Okay, so here, when we just copy this IP and when we place when we add this IP in the address domain, and we are currently using this localhost key which we have already created, and we continue on it. Okay, and we will get a private key once I tap on continue here, and
Mhm.
I copy that private key, and I go back to my server. I go back to my server, and I go to the SSH authorized keys, and I add the private key to the I add the public key of the Coolify to the. You can see I have added the Coolify public key here. So whenever the server talks through the private key and integrates through the private key, and has a secure channel has been created between both Coolify and the whatever the server we have created. So this is where we add our Coolify's public key, and whenever Coolify or whenever the servers interact with each other, they interact through a tunnel, a secure tunnel through SSH actually. Any questions still here?
Hey, Gopi, I have a question here. So, still, this is a manual process, right? Adding the key and all.
Yes, obviously, like when you have a blank server, we have to push those keys. Then we are integrating not through LDAP or OAuth. We are straight away using the SSH to keep the things simpler.
Does that Coolify will support automating this key through application itself? Like I don't have to log into SSH to this any of the rack and
No, we have to add this actually keys. It will not support the automation stuffs without
TDS, right? If somebody deleted or something went wrong with the rack and it went up, is there any way to back up this server again?
like if you're talking on the backup points, yeah, we would be backing up all these servers to another NDFS or on other hard disk where it copies all the data and other stuffs to keep it as secured on another breach. On on the breach levels, once if the rack is breached, then we can reinitiate through those backups actually.
When you say backup, right, does it back up entire thing along with the application and the volume which is mounted?
It backups all the entire volume data and every other information which is on the particular Linux PM actually.
Okay, but taking the backup of entire the whole this one, right, till the volume will keep on increasing, right? So instead, we could take only the skeleton of the server, so that if anything goes wrong, since the code is already there from the GitHub or any other repository, all you need to do is just a backup and get it through the Qualify, right?
Well, it'll regarding the backups, however we design the backups, it acts prudently. That, like for example, if we are taking only a skeleton way of handling things, then it will take only the skeleton ways. If we need the data or what are the container images we are running, or more logs files which we are writing to the complete to the same old servers, then we'll have to take a backup of complete VM itself actually. Skeletal structure is just to build that VM and
Yes.
whatever the VMs.
Lakshmi, one more thing.
Yeah.
Lakshmi, one more thing. Already we are running in a very bare metal when we're talking about VM. It is a full-fledged OS, but this is not like a desktop operating system.
No,
So when
I
you talk
get
about
that
server
point.
OS, it only has the kernel and all the relevant related components of it.
No, I
Right?
get that point.
Yes.
With respect to whenever they create a server, he'll just create a plain server along with predefined the packages, right? So right now, the all the if you see into the server, right, I see the keys like Imtiaz is having one Imtiaz access. Maybe it's everyone wanted to access this one. He need to manually add, right?
Don't worry about those things. We took care of those things by creating a A record through Cloudflare, and we have integrated the server through that. Right now, if we remove the Imtiaz things also, so you will be able to access server through whatever we have created on the Cloudflare. So we have created a record for this IP on the Cloudflare by giving, we have set a host name for it. So whenever you want to enter the root, whenever you want to, see logs, or whenever you want to enter the VM and check the logs, we can straight away do SSH by having the root and whatever the ID which we have given. So we can, for example, you can see if you're able to see my screen. So I've converted that IP forecasting to a dev100days.microsoft.net. So whenever you do a SSH and do a root at 100days.microsoft.net, even if your key is not on the SSH platform, it will take care of it and it will pass you through the root integration actually.
Okay, my point was like you have given access to other users, right? Like adding the SSD. If something went wrong with the rack, right? How are you going to retain those without having getting again re-adding all these the SSH key?
So once SSH goes away, we can't back up the private keys, right? So obviously we need to, again add those keys back actually. So we will have a master copy, or we would store those keys somewhere else also, which is not revealed actually.
Okay, which is not done right now. It is a manual process.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so let me even we have in the future plan that we will have red model implemented. So no matter what it broke,
Raid is already there.
RAID is
Right,
that
right.
so
Okay.
RAID.
Okay.
So even the load balancing failure of one network should redirect to US rack or whatever, right? that need to be added?
So we have done a RAID 10 on the rack 2 server, which we have already taken care of. That actually on another rack, which we have not put into the production or we have not got into the action yet actually. So I have done a RAID 10 onto it, and I have integrated the 4 GB hard disk into a planing of 1.8 GB, and it will take care of all the backups and all the skeletal structures and other stuffs actually. Just to be precise, is what we have done so far actually. I did not inform Karthik also. So anyway, on this call, just putting about to him also. And Nilesh also. Nilesh, on the rack 2, we have already done a RAID 10 onto it actually, of the 40 GB of hard disk.
Okay.
So, yeah, Lakshmikant, go ahead.
No, not me. I think someone else is.
Yeah, anyone, any questions? Can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so like I had to deviate from the topic. So let me get back to it. So once we integrate the servers, it'll have a like once we do it, and it'll have it goes to a reachable mode, and your servers will be on this platform. So as a developers, you don't need to worry about those servers until if there is any issues on the rack, or if it is not working, then you can come and check the servers whether it is reachable through Coolify or not actually. So before that, when you log into the Coolify, you always have to place the current team into the root team, because this is all taken care through root itself, root users itself. So we'll create accounts for respective developers and give the login ID and passwords. You can log in through Coolify through them. And when you enter, you just have to do a click on if your project is ready, and like as a DevOps team, we look into it. It is ready up to for production and dev environment. Currently, we are focusing on the dev environment. So when you tap on projects, you can see if your projects, like for example, my project was 100 days. So when you tap on the 100 days, you look into the environments. So here we are maintaining 2 or multiple environments in future if you want to add one more environment also. So currently we are maintaining production and dev environment. So right now we are given access for developers for the dev environment. When you come inside the projects, and when you see the environment page, you can just click onto the dev environment, and you can see what I am talking about. So databases and services, it has been already taken care of Coolify, like database, other stuff, which will be taken care of DevOps, how to integrate other stuffs. And when you have to deploy, just when you push the code to the development patch, the manager merges the code. After that, on the GitLab, you can come and just restart your servers. And if you want to see what is there in the service stack, you can see whatever we are running. So for example, when we are building something on the Git repo, we are pushing it to a repository called Harbor, where we store our Docker images over there currently. So we are running like whenever a developer pushes to development branch, and when manager merges it, so the GitLab will take care of it to build it as a Docker image and push it back to Harbor. And here you can see whatever the environment variables and volumes, whatever we are placing and pushing it out. And whenever the deployment of the deployment is completed or GitLab repository build is completed, it will always have this tag of dev-latest. So this is the repository. And this is the project. This is for the production project. And if it is for dev, we have created a separate 2 repositories for production and dev environment. Whenever dev environment like GitLab jobs run through it, you can go and check here. And you can see this would be tagged with the dev.latest, dev-latest. And you need to just go and restart your servers. You can see we have placed already, those things has been taken care from our end. So you have to just go and restart the server, or stop the server, again pull the latest image also.
So, Gopinath, will we be working with Coolify or Jenkins in terms of developer, not DevOps?
In terms of a developer, you will be working on the Git. Like for example, if your repo is on Git, you push the changes and you come back, and like once the build is successful over there, you just have to restart this, come back to the Coolify, and if any one of them who has their changes has been pushed and the build has been successful, they can straight away come and deploy to the dev server through this section.
It's not
So
Jenkins. Ishaq. So
it's not
we have CI/CD in GitLab only. So build happen from GitLab itself, and once GitLab is successfully do the build, right? Let's say for the dev environment. So once you see the build is successful, you will go to the Coolify, go to the respective project, whatever you have access, and then you tap on the advance and pull the image, and it will pull the image for you and deploy it for you.
you can see the full latest image and
Can't,
results. Okay.
can't we add that in GitLab only? Just checking.
We can add actually. There is another way also of integrating Git repository straight away to here, but that as
No,
Jaga told, we
so
are
my point being, developer, let him just work with GitLab, right? Why should he be worried about these things?
So you are saying in the
It can
GitLab they will see one
a
more
deploy option.
option, deploy,
Yes.
and when they tap on it, and then only it will deploy, not auto deploy.
Something like that.
we'll look into those options, Shah. We'll have
So I
it.
mean, less tools we expose to developer, the life will be that easy, right? I mean, you can definitely use this tool for your management and all those things, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I have one place where I see my pull requests. Then there is one from that same place. If I could build and deploy, right? I think that would make developers' life easy. They don't have to go through all these things. I mean, you can have this running behind the screen if it helps you, right? But for developers, why should he be bothered about learning multiple things? He can just deploy it from there, right?
So
If
basically,
possible, I would say that's the best thing. Yeah.
okay. So basically, you're asking for auto deployment. We'll look into it and we'll work
Not
around.
auto deployment, not auto deployment. So GitLab will do the build, correct? And it will
Yes.
show what happened to the build if it succeeded or not, right?
Yes.
So from there, can we deploy it? I think we should be able to. That's the question. If we
So
can do it
basically,
from there, then they don't have to come to the Coolify, is what I'm saying.
so
Okay.
Gopi, what he's saying, some button where say deployed, right? Then they
Got it.
tap on it, then it will deploy.
Got it, Nilesh. I'll look into it and I'll have a workaround and have a discussion with Jaga also, and I'll integrate as soon as possible. Possible, actually.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Gopi, are
It's
there any
okay
thoughts?
it's okay that we are here right now. I'm fine with it. All I'm saying is, I think that will be most easy way for developers or managers, just one place, right, where they don't have to get too technical. Let's say if
Sure.
it is Avinash or some manager who is not that technical, right? I think he would prefer, he asks his lead developer, like, if it is good to go, they say, yeah, it's good to go. QA says it's good to go. He just has to go through GitLab, hit a button, and it deploys. You could still have these things behind the scenes to give you more control.
Sure, Ishak. I'll look into it and I'll try to,
Okay.
take your pointers stuff,
Okay.
and I'll try to integrate those things.
Okay. Thank you.
Gopi, in case of Broadbrain or Shannon, right, we use Jenkins to build it.
Yes, that is on Kubernetes, Avinash.
Yeah, here my ask is why are we not following common process? Why different in case of 100 days? Why are we
No,
not using Jenkins?
they are building it from Git repository, so we have
I
done.
understand that,
Okay.
but be it any project, right?
No.
All this source control, or here you're saying we are using GitLab, but we use Bitbucket. That is fine,
Yes.
but building should be a commonplace, no?
These things were kept on the Git. They wanted to keep, like Jaga wanted to keep separately on GitLab and separately on Jenkins. Those things. So we had to segregate and do things actually.
Now, adding to Avinash point, no, Jenkins is a bit old now. Okay, so we have a repository, Bitbucket, and GitLab, right? That itself will support the building system. We don't have to again rely on the different server It's a I feel it's again we are for everything we are using a different tool. Instead, the GitLab and the own repository itself will support the building system. All we need to do is we'll have to connect with a hook and try to automate the deployment process. That would be a great option, like Ishak said, right? A couple of months back, I already discussed with Jaga saying he said you guys will be working on this automation part, so we don't have to rely every time. Maybe you have to create a once from our side, development side, like Avinash is managing some of the project, right? He will just approve. You don't have to worry again. Again, he come back to you and say that okay, deploy and all things, right? It will be like again a manual process. I think if you bring this changes, it would be a great idea. Like it will time saving, and also for QA, you don't have to wait until you manually deploy.
Now, Gopi, so in case of GitLab, it is self-hosted. In case of Bitbucket, it's a cloud, right? It's a two different subscriptions. So
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know if it's a good idea to just rely on Bitbucket, all the building stuff and all. I would say go with the Jenkins. Okay, maybe you can talk to Jaga also.
Okay.
You can keep Jenkins as a common tool to build the projects, and then Coolify to deploy.
Got it, Avinash. I'll check with Jagan.
Still we require Avinash because Bitbucket will support, right? Build system.
Lakshmi, Bitbucket is a cloud service. So today, I mean, I don't know, tomorrow we might move to Message Plus Bitbucket also. I don't want to again rely on easy DevOps.
Just one, Avi, I kind of agree with you. Just one building tool.
Yeah.
Right. If we upgrade, we move from Jenkins,
Yeah,
it's okay.
exactly.
But as long as it is one tool,
Yeah.
I think that would be that would be the ideal way to do it.
So for Kubernetes, like for auto deployment and other stuff, we are looking into Argo CD. So like we'll move out of Jenkins and we'll.
I don't know if auto deployment we need it right now, or we are that process oriented, right? Because I think it is one person, because there are a lot of pull requests that gets merged. It's not like one request, right? I think it's still okay for a manager to take the call, like, to see if all PRs came in, and then he says, okay, now is the time to deploy. I think I'm fine with it. Avi, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we should go with common thing. Yeah, sure.
Common and manual deployment, right? We don't
Manual. Yes, definitely manual deployment. We don't want to create multiple deployments as soon as someone commits.
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Avinash, for this case, like let's say I'm working on some big feature and Vijay will be working on some big feature. So QA wanted to test kind of a QA, either two-way we can do it. Like maybe we should have a one environment for testing itself before we get deployed into a prod or any other dev. So someone should before you will be reviewing a PR, right? So make sure it is QA tested before it get merged, kind of a things. I think that will be a good option. I mean, it's my personal.
No, Lakshmi, no. So that is why we have dev environment. Always QA should test with the stage environment. Okay. So when always the backend should be ahead of the front end. If you plan like that, we can streamline this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that you go ahead and that's why we are giving access to you for developers. As soon as they're done with that, they can deploy it in the dev environment. They can start testing because the backend changes will be in place, and they're ahead of the front end development.
In such case, at least can we automate only for dev environment so that
why you want to automate? We have given access. Go and deploy it.
From where we can deploy?
That is what Gopi is explaining, no?
So, Lakshmi, that's the whole idea. So, what we are doing right now is all developers will have access to whatever deployment environment it is right now. Later, we'll make sure we get down to just one environment, but all developers, all platforms should be able to deploy a build to server.
Okay.
Server or client. Okay.
Dev build, not prod.
Dev build.
Okay.
That's the whole idea.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So the idea is the developer does not have to rely on Nilesh or Avinash to tell QA to test something. Okay. If developer is sure that all changes are good and it is in, you should be able to push the build to dev environment and have QA tested.
So we don't have to worry about all the configuration. Everything will be set by DevOps, and what we need to
You
do
will
is
just have a button that says deploy. That's all.
oh, okay.
So I'll share out the documents and I'll look into creation of accounts for all the developers for Coolify, and will share those things, credentials through mail to everyone. That's it from my end, actually.
Which product are we targeting today? I mean, what are we starting with?
I mean, 100 Dev 100 is I have to talk to Nilesh also to like who are the developers to whom we have to give the access and other stuffs. I'll look into those things, and I'll have a meeting with Nilesh and I'll look into it.
Okay, great. So where we are trying to get at is one button that a developer can log in and say deploy. Okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be complex. As far as developer is concerned, there is a button. Wherever it is, he goes there and he says deploy.
Yeah, currently we are doing that same thing on the manual process on the Coolify. We have to just, go and do this is the button we are talking about. Ishak. Let me
Yeah,
share.
let's check your screen.
So if my screen is back, let me know.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay. So here is the button, Ishak. Like he has to just tap on this pull latest image and restart. That's it.
No, but then the build has to be completed, right? Where will that happen?
That happens in the GitLab actually, and all the developers will have access to the GitLab environment things. So respective repositories, they all have access already actually, so they can see whether build is successful or not actually.
Okay, so Nilesh, are we following the proper branch structure that, if it goes to dev,
Yes.
that things get merged to development branch and from
That's what
there
we
we
are doing.
separate?
No PI will
Okay.
merge to main directly. It will go to first development, and developer and tester says the build is fine, and now we can promote to prod. Then I am the one, like whoever manager, right, who have maintainer access, they can raise PR from development to main,
Okay.
and then once the build ready, then we can deploy.
Okay.
That's we are
Got
following
it. Okay, got it. So
for
then,
for for,
then
for team session. As we are in production, so dev environment is on the Coolify, whereas prod environment on EC2. So once the code is merged in the prod, it will automatically trigger the new build and it will update. You don't need to do anything.
okay.
So this is the steps which I've already given and elaborated also. If in future if anybody gets confused, so I've given the examples and how to restart the service or restart the service. So and I've given a note only use with appropriate permission can like only users with appropriate permissions can edit the Docker Compose files. Make sure to save the changes if you are changing anything on the Docker Compose file. That's it.
Okay. And all the project will have this README, that says that tells developer where to go and what to do for that particular project. Correct? Nilesh, I
Yes.
think that is project
Will
goals.
we add right now? It's not there, but we will add.
Decided. Okay.
Okay, that's it. From my end, I'm stopping the sharing. If any questions, please go ahead. Anybody else?
No questions from my end. Good.
Hey, Gopi, I have a question. So, how do we scale? Suppose if it is a load is more, is there any way that will support either horizontal?
That we are not worried about right now, Lakshmi, because the kind of a load we are getting for the application, whatever the resource we are giving for the resources, right? While creating the VM visa, there's a certain amount of RAM and hard drive is given out there. And there is based on the future requirements, if you're getting, let's say if your application is getting 10,000 or 30,000 requests in a day. At that time, we'll increase the resource and probably add one more load balancer out there to divide out the container. That will manage it out. You don't have to worry about that. From your perspective, as a developer, you will have to worry only about the build stage. You don't have to worry about the production. So that the operations team will manage. It's our responsibility to take care of that. Right?
Okay.
So, like on other basis, Karthik, like we are starting with Grafana also to look, Grafana, we are integrating Grafana also for the service. Lakshmi, like we have to look into the load things and other stuff. So I'll just give you, we can talk about this like later when we take another session for it.
Grafana and Kubernetes cluster, right?
Yes, yes. So we'll look into it, and we are trying to integrate one by one all the VMs to Grafana. So probably we'll get to know the load things and other stuff. Grafana will be taking care of it. We'll have more. We are working on those things also. So we'll have those things also get ready by another 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, then I will wind up my session. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
So,
Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks.